Pressure is growing on the government to cut VAT for what's arguably the region's biggest industry. Almost every other country in the EU gives tourism businesses a hefty reduction in their VAT bills. Businesses and MPs in the southwest say it's high time our government did the same thing. Here's John Henderson.
A little sport on the River Lid. Fly fisherman Paul regularly tries his hand at this spot in West Devon. From Derbyshire, he'd come more often if the hotel rooms were cheaper.
We have 2 children, so family holidays, again, price is very important, so we would look to come in Britain more often if the prices were better.
Paul is staying at this hotel in Lifton, a village near Oakhampton. It's a family business employing 20 full-time and 30 part-time staff, all drawn from the area.
All right, guys? How's our National Apprentice of the Year?
The hotel's owner says he'd like to employ more people if the business expanded, and he thinks that could happen easily if VAT on tourism was brought down to the European average of 5%.
The industry will respond very quickly. It'll bring on more people staying in hotel rooms, more people therefore eating in restaurants, bars, pubs and so on in the West Country, hopefully more overseas visitors coming inbound, fewer of the UK citizens going outbound for tourism, and so it'll be very good news for our local economy.
In all, 24 countries in the EU have taken advantage of a special dispensation to cut VAT rates on tourism. Now an early day motion calling for the UK to do the same has been lodged by MPs, including the member representing Lifton, who says it's a win-win.
It's going to send an electric shock of aid and assistance and support to the domestic tourist industry. That's what we need to do. It's a vital industry for the southwest, and that's why I'm urging the government to take action.
It's worth remembering that in 2011 the coalition actually increased VAT from 17.5% to 20%, a measure introduced with the budget deficit in mind. Given that that's still £107 billion, some think any cuts to VAT are unlikely.
The case is made that over a 5-year period these sort of measures would be broadly tax neutral, but in an environment in which balancing the budget in the short term is desperately important, I think there'll be a lot of resistance to the measure, well made though the case is.
And the Treasury wasn't biting. In a statement it said while it keeps all taxes under review, it does not have any plans to introduce a VAT cut for the tourism sector. The reason, a significant revenue shortfall.
There we are. How about that? We're in.
Paul got lucky, but the campaign to reduce VAT for tourism has yet to net anything.
Bill, we had a number of Labour peers in a debate this week, weighing in, supporting this campaign. But of course, during the 13 years you're in government, you seem quite happy with this VAT regime.
Not at the current level. We just heard...
Sure, it's increased, of course, at the beginning of the campaign.
And it's that increase in the last 4 years of this government that has seen so much damage caused to our tourism industry. In a city like Plymouth, that I have the honour of representing, we're the largest city on the south coast. We rely heavily on tourism at seasonal times. We've got something in the region of 5 million visitors expected and growing. Support for the tourism industry is absolutely vital. So if we can do anything to help hoteliers and other people involved in the tourism industry, fantastic.
So you'd like to see this cut to 5%?
I'd like to listen to what hoteliers and other people involved in the tourism industry are telling me. What we do in Plymouth with the destination...
I don't think any of them would say no to it being cut to 5%, unless you were saying we cut it further.
Then I'm sure they'll make a very, very powerful case, as we were just hearing. What we do in Plymouth with Destination Plymouth, which is the public sector, the private sector and the voluntary sector all working together to increase tourism, I think is the right way forward. And that's where I'd want that debate to be held, see what we can do in the way of VAT cuts and other measures to get tourism boosted.
OK, Cheryl, the Labour peer Lord Harrison said in this debate this week that David Cameron doesn't get tourism. You know, tourism is something that just happens and you can let it get on.
No, I think the Prime Minister certainly does get tourism. He recognised the effect of the recent storms and floods on the tourist industry with the loss of the railway. And actually...
We're still debating getting the money to clear up.
Yeah. Well, he's come out again in a letter recently to say that he wants to speak to the councils to make sure that that money is coming through. And the signs I'm getting is that it is coming
OK, on
through.
the VAT cut, are you with Geoffrey Cox, with Sarah Wollaston, these other Conservative MPs?
On the VAT cut, I mean, I think Bill is wrong to just make try to score a political point by saying it's the 2.5% increase. We have to compete on a level playing field with other European countries to make sure that we get those tourists here. But having said that, it's the Chancellor that holds the big calculator, and of course any concessions that we give come at a price. And the most important thing at the moment that we can see to help the tourist industry is the roads and the rail network and the communication to the
You're
southwest.
not going to be with these Conservative MPs in the southwest who are repeatedly knocking on the Chancellor's door and saying this is something you should do.
I have been knocking on the Chancellor's door.
But in terms of saying we want this VAT cut?
I have been knocking on the Chancellor's door in terms of the VAT cut. I've written to him. I meet my tourist associations regularly. I'm meeting them again in a fortnight's time. But I'm just pointing out that we have to recognise that there's only so much money and things, you know, if we get things like this, they come at a cost.
The argument for the industry is that in the medium term, of course, the Treasury will gain from this because business will be boosted.
Well, I'm hoping with the growth of the economy, this is something that we can look at introducing in the very near future.